Rock Me Mama.
My situation and angle. Are we okay? Let me get it right.
How's mine? Am I perfect?
Of course.
Tell me I'm perfect. Tell me I'm perfect, bitch.
We're both perfect.
Everyone's perfect. From Bill down there. Everyone's perfect. I want to listen to my basketball. Shut the fuck up. Okay.
This is what recording with your friends is like. What am I saying?
Your name. What's your name?
My name. Oh, I was gonna say welcome back. Welcome back to Rock Me Mama podcast.
Rock Me Mama. I'm Amie and
I'm Macy.
we are your new mom squad. This is Rock Me Mama podcast. And we are on episode 2.
Woo! And we have a lot of energy riding us out from episode 1 because we're so excited.
Yes.
This has been such a long time coming. Well, let's jump in.
Okay.
We are
What are we talking about, honey?
The art of getting pregnant.
Oof. Oof.
Oof.
Ooh. Are we talking about the art of getting pregnant in general or the art of getting pregnant when you have a kid?
Ooh, both. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll start with just prefacing.
You didn't try to get pregnant.
We have the most different.
Yeah, opposite stories.
Yeah. So, and
Let's start with you.
Well, this is what we hope we provide moms listening with. It's just like, if somebody doesn't relate to me, they'll relate to you, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things are different. My husband looks at me and I get pregnant.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
That's how my mom was. I'm convinced that my parents had sex 4 times and there are 4 of us. There's no chance they had sex even one other time than that. They fucking hated each other. They were like, we will have sex 4 times. We will have 4 children. We will promptly get divorced.
Yeah. And here, one of you.
Here I am.
Is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it is. I said that in a very joking manner. I do want to be polite to the women that have a hard time conceiving. Please hear me out on this. I have 2 very close friends that have a hard time getting pregnant. I have had a hard time getting pregnant. So I said that in a very joking manner. Obviously, that's not how.
But you guys weren't planning.
We were not trying. We weren't not.
You weren't on birth control.
Right.
Yeah. But you were not trying to get pregnant.
With Eli, my first son, I had been off of birth control for a month and I got pregnant.
Yeah. You were like living your best life, just like
living,
rocking it out. Because birth control is terrible. Like I hate how I feel on birth control. So
which
you must
is why
have been
I got
living your best life, like free from birth control, free from hell.
Well, also,
and then you get knocked up.
It was in the middle of COVID. Chase and I. This is still, you didn't know me then, but this is when we had our family cabin, which was at Center Hill Lake. This beautiful place. It was our happy place.
Is it in Nashville?
It's about an hour and a half away.
Oh, okay.
We quarantined there.
Yeah.
And cooked every meal, worked out all day because that's like what we want to do, and then just drank it. It was. Yeah. So much fun. Like it was the hottest we've ever been. Yeah. And it was great. And then I got pregnant.
You have to shut it all down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you cry when you got pregnant or were you happy?
I knew. I knew. And I didn't do it in a cute way because I was so like in my head I knew that I was. And so we had actually just gotten back from a therapy session because we started doing therapy after getting married.
Okay.
Which was so awesome.
I'm sure that's good. I mean, don't we all need therapy?
I wish we were still doing it. Yeah. But we had just finished a session and the therapist said, he asked about kids or when we thought we were going to do it, whatever the question was. And I was like, we love our life so much right now. We travel all the time. Well, did before COVID, but and I don't like in an ideal world, if age wasn't a factor or time wasn't a factor, we'd do it in 15 years. And I remember as I was saying this in my head, I was like, you're a dumb bitch. You're a dumb bitch. Like,
you're currently pregnant.
Yeah. And I literally, as the words are coming out of my mouth, I was like, you're pregnant. Yeah. I went home without telling Chase. This is so bad of me. Went home, marched upstairs, peed on a stick, and it was positive.
Yeah. Like you knew. I knew when I was as well.
So I was just kind of like, okay. And so I walked back downstairs. He has John Mayer playing. He's making lunch. And I stick the pregnancy stick in his face. And I said, does this look like 2 lines to you? And that was how I told him. And he goes, oh, fuck. And I was like, when he said something, then I like panicked.
Hit you.
And then I like cried, but Happy cried. And then he like immediately picked me up and screamed and was so excited. And then realized, because I'm a business owner, the job he was with didn't have insurance for him. So we were like bare minimum insurance. And then it hit him. We don't have insurance to cover a baby. So his like roller coaster of emotions was like, yeah. So that was it. Yours was different. What was your story, Ames?
Mine was different. Well, I don't know if you listened to the first episode, but I kind of touch on this. My husband is almost 10 years younger than me. So when we met, I was 33 or 34, and he was 23 or 24. So he was like a baby nugget, like
that is
fetus.
So funny.
Yeah.
Fetus.
And
he was
I met him. Yeah, he was my daughter's age. And I was like, you're hot. Let's do it. No. I met him and he like pursued the shit out of me. And
look at her.
Well, I didn't know how old he was because he is like an old man, his personality. Like he says dress to the nines. He's like, wanna dress to the nines? I'm like, okay, what are we 100 years old? But so he came off to me as definitely a man in his 30s. So I was very taken back when I found out that he was like 23 or 24.
Because 23 for a guy is
very young. Yeah. I mean, I had just moved from Los Angeles to Nashville. I had dated every Peter Pan in LA, and they were like 40. So I was like, okay, there's no fucking way I'm dating this kid. But we just got along so well, and we spent the weekend together, and it immediately was very apparent that we were like, okay, we're probably gonna be together. Weird.
It was love at first sight.
Yes, it was love at first sight, kind of, and so pretty early on, I had said to him, like, listen, I'm kind of on the like shit or get off the pot age for kids. And anyone that I date right now, I really can't fuck around. And he was like, okay. And I was like, do you know what I'm saying? He was like, I think so. I was like, if we get together and we're really serious, like, I want to have a kid. Like, I want to have kids.
Babies. Yeah.
And he was like, okay, well, I want that with you. I can see that with you. And I was like, it was so quick. We were so such new, like it was such new love. And he was already like, okay, I'll do that with you. So we had been together for a few years when we started trying. And it took us 5 or 6 months. I was on the road. I was on the road with Sugarland when we started trying. And I really wasn't in tune with my ovulation. I really didn't know when I was ovulating. I really, Morgan is like the queen of ovulation, and she can tell you like
producer
what all your LH, our producer, our LH levels and our PG fucking whatever they are levels. What is it? Progesterone and all that shit. Estrogen, all that shit. So like I'll like be texting Morgan like, oh, what does this mean? But
then Morgan's like, this is
she's like, well, let me tell you. No, but I don't know any of that stuff. And so I think it took us a while because I really didn't understand how ovulation worked. That sounds so dumb.
No, it doesn't. We're not taught it. But
I didn't understand. I spent my whole life trying not to get pregnant.
Right.
My whole life. So once I started trying to get pregnant, it was a totally different ballgame. It took us a minute, but we got pregnant fairly quickly for a 38-year-old.
Yeah.
5 or 6 months.
Very healthy 38-year-old.
I'm very healthy, and we were partying a lot. It was during COVID, and like I said in the first episode, I was drinking the day that I found out that I was pregnant. I was drinking, and I know that's like kind of people are gonna be like, "Wow,
whatever,
how dare you?" I didn't know I was pregnant.
You didn't know.
And I peed on the thing, and I showed him the thing, and it was a very, very faint line. I almost thought I wasn't pregnant because of how faint it was. I was like, "Am I creating this line?" And Nick was like, "That's a line. That's definitely there." And that's how it happened. And then now we have the most beautiful thing in the world. But
smartest little most beautiful thing in the world.
but it was definitely like I am one of those people who's of the elderly maternal age or whatever the fuck it's called. I'm an old.
We're going with MILF.
I'm
That's
an
what
old.
we decided on episode 1.
I'm an old mom, but I think that what's more interesting is trying now that we have kids.
Yeah, I was gonna say what's like. That's how we have our two. I only describe them as perfect because they are, but our 2 perfect kiddos now.
But sex is a different game when you have a kid.
So there's 2 parts of this episode. Part 1, the art of getting pregnant for baby 1. The art of getting pregnant for baby 2 that's what has been completely opposite.
Yes,
for us.
We want to fill you in
was the exact same.
We want to fill you in on a little bit of Rock Me Mama lingo.
Mm-hmm. This is
we
important.
have something that's called getting gooed, and goo is cum, jizz.
Jizz. I haven't heard that word since I don't know when.
Goo is the goo, and then the getting gooed is when you do it and they goo, and then you have to keep the goo in instead of running to the bathroom and
gotta let the goo
getting the
resonate.
goo out. And even with this time that we were trying, I've been getting gooed and then doing like the standing on my head,
literally handstands. With videos of her
trying to get the goo to like go. It's scientifically, I guess it's not proven that that's a thing. I guess the sperm shoots whatever.
Swims its way up there.
Swims its way in like milliseconds. But
Morgan
for
would
me, Morgan would know. But for me, I'm thinking that if I stand on my head, like maybe it's going to work faster.
We tried, well, not we. You try it all.
Yeah.
Also, one of our friends, Spencer, who's part of our mom group, when she was trying, sorry, Spence, I'm
we call it getting Spencered.
It's the Spencer method.
Yeah, the Spencer method.
They had sex twice
a day, all month.
A day.
If you're a mom, which I imagine you are, if you're listening to this, because who the fuck wants to listen to this if they're not a mom or not trying to get pregnant? It's not interesting if you're not. But you understand how awful that is to have sex twice a day.
Awful.
For a month.
Awful.
Once you have a kid.
Because there's so many things.
You're so tired.
You're so tired. You're touched out. And we feel touched out with 1 kid. So there are moms listening to this that probably have 4 that are like, oh, honey, you don't even know what touched out is.
I don't. Well, it's because your baby never stops touching you and wanting you and needing you, and you have to hold the baby all day. And then your husband, you have to try to touch your husband and have your husband touch you.
You have to try. You have to make an effort. You have to touch your husband. It's not bad. We're making it sound so much worse than it is.
I love my husband. Our husbands are all so cute.
We have the best husbands, and they're so good looking.
But
and
like,
the best dads.
But it is really, and
that was funny.
Really do have to force yourself to get there. Because the last thing you want to do is have sex with your husband.
Oh my God. Yeah.
My God.
It's not at the forefront of
and it sucks
of
because
mind.
you're like, I have a great husband. Like I should want to do this. But like you're tired. You're so tired. And you're so touched out. And your kid needs you and everybody needs you. And you don't feel like being groped. And
no. In no way, shape, or form. And then the only other option is either like random middle of the day sex, which sounds somewhat kinky and fun, but it's not.
Well, it's actually
when you're in the middle of like just your day.
Well, it's sex during nap time, which is nap time is the time that you get to yourself.
Right.
But I will say I would rather have sex during nap time or in the morning than at night.
Oh, for sure.
There's nothing worse than night sex when you have a kid.
Night sex doesn't happen.
You know what I mean?
It hasn't happened to us in so long.
Night sex happens every blue moon to us, and it's just...
it doesn't happen to us. It's either a spontaneous nap time thing that I'm like, just get your shit together. You have to do it.
Or you give the blowjob. Like, for me, I'd rather blow my husband at this point. Mm-hmm. Like, I'd rather just be like, can I just suck your dick?
Morning sex is the best for us. But I also, in my pregnant hormonal state, am incapable
Oh,
of
well,
not crying.
You cry after sex.
I cry after
So how does that
every
go?
single. Oh, he expects it now. I cry after every single time.
So he's like finishes and then you start
he
crying.
loves me
That's
through it.
that's dark. That's really
It's not
dark.
because I'm like I didn't want to. It's
No,
because
it's 'cause-
it's mostly like
Does it hurts?
it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
I have a very overactive pelvic floor.
Yeah.
So it's so
what does that
tight.
mean
It's
in fitness
They
lingo?
don't. My pelvic floor muscles just don't relax. Like I have to physically think of relaxing them.
Oh.
When
So
when I'm
you're
having
tight, so it makes it tight.
yes.
Oh, and
so
hurt.
it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And that's not a him thing, but that I mean
No.
it's truly that's a when I'm pregnant me thing. And so it's either because it didn't feel good, and then that either directly makes me feel like, well, it was shitty for him too, or like he could tell that I didn't want. There's just so many things that go through my head of just like basically the final just description of this sex
You're
was
also
just blah.
really pregnant.
Yeah,
You're in your
yeah.
third trimester. Like sex is, I remember at the end when Farah would not come out. Literally, I went to like 41 weeks and I was so enormous and so uncomfortable. And I would just bounce on a yoga ball all day, crying hysterically and listening to guided meditations. And Nick would come out and look at me and be like, okay, I'm
gonna go.
and I would just look at him like, you say one fucking thing. But towards the end, I was eating hot sauce. I
Everything.
was eating drinking the fucking raspberry tea. I was doing the squatting all around the house. And we were having sex all the time because I wanted to induce labor.
You can't even call it sex at that
And I was
point, though.
my fucking cow ass was being bent over.
It's the only way to do it.
You have to do it from behind.
Well, and-
I was being bent over the bed, just getting plowed every day like a monster, like literally a humongous
The funniest
whale.
part of that, though, is that, and I'm sure Nick felt the same way, Chase would be like, I'm going to touch his head. I'm going to touch the baby. Like, they're literally scared that their dick is going to touch the baby's
I think my
head.
husband's like way grosser than yours because I don't think Nick gave one shit.
Oh my God. Chase would be like, is that
No.
him? And I'm like, no, you can't touch the baby.
No, Nick loved it. Loved it.
Oh my God. Yeah. But I cry after every single time. And Chase is the kindest,
That's traumatizing
sweetest husband.
for Chase probably.
He knows that it's not him. Like I make it very clear. It's always like I either feel bad because it like wasn't good enough, or like I almost feel bad because I know he feels bad because he feels like he made me do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's just, and then it's also mourning, just like actually having good sex.
Yeah.
Like that's a factor too. Or it's like, wow, I feel like a heifer. There's a lot of factors at hand.
I think now that I'm 40, which I love saying, I say it just keep repeating it. I'm like, I'm 40. No, but like, I think now that I'm older, I can, even if I'm not in the mood, I can kind of like I can at least get off. Some of the time.
Yeah.
I can at least like get there, which at least is good because if it's just miserable the whole time, that's miserable for everyone. But I definitely couldn't when I was really, really pregnant. So it was only to induce labor or for him to be like, don't leave me for some fucking, that's
my thing.
Well, that's the thing is like, of course it's just on your mind when you don't have sex with your husband for long enough. You're just like, okay. And I'm a big, like, I don't care if Nick, like, I don't care if my husband, like, watches porn or jerks off or any of that. But there is a certain point where you're like, I probably need to fuck you or blow you. Or you're going to find someone that will.
Yeah.
And that's a terrible thought, but it is something that you think about.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you're not losing the romantic part of your relationship completely.
Oh, that's
because then it's really hard to get back.
Yeah.
I've been in long relationships where that's gone, and once it's gone, it's very hard to get back.
Yeah.
So even if you have to fake it till you make it.
Yeah. Well,
sometimes you got to take one for the team.
Right. I agree. That's not even a like insecurity thing. It's just maintenance of your relationship.
But it's true.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof. Pregnancy sex though.
Pregnancy and postpartum sex. I remember when the doctor for this, I think it was a 6 or 8 week visit after C-section. What is it? Is it 6 or 8 weeks after C-section? Yeah. Where you go to the doctor and they tell you whether it's probably the same for.
Yeah, I think it's the same.
Yeah, because you're still bleeding. Like after you have the baby, whether it's C-section or not, you're still bleeding for weeks and weeks and weeks. But I remember like going to the doctor and having her clear me.
And you were like, no.
Getting home and Nick was like, so what'd they say? And I'm like, she said I could do it. And you're like, but I don't want to. And they're just so happy that you're cleared because they want to do it, but you are not ready.
Chase was so, like, sweet Chase was, maybe it's because I cry so much. I don't know, but he literally, the first time after, he was like, are you good? Like, he would move a millimeter at a time, be like, you okay?
Oh, Nick
okay?
would too, because it really, like, I didn't have vaginal births, but my vagina was, like, closed.
Yeah.
After birth, it was, like, closed for business.
Mm-hmm. Well, it hadn't been open for business. Well, I guess it had because you'd been trying.
But it just, like, felt like I had to start from scratch. Like, I felt like a fucking virgin.
Well, there's also trauma associated with it. Vaginal delivery or not, there's women, that's where we hold trauma a lot of times. And your birth was, or Farrah's birth was very traumatic.
Yeah.
And so even though she was C-section, there was a lot that was being held on to.
9 centimeters
do you want me to keep having this visual for you?
This is your vagina.
This is
the trauma. No, but I think that I also went to 9 centimeters before they called, we have to do an emergency C-section. So my vag was like open.
Right. It was ready for
She was ready.
Yeah.
And then they were like, no, psych.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But that's what the art of getting pregnant, we're calling it with the second kid, is very hard because sex is it's an act. You have to actively work on your sex life after having the first kid.
And I think we're both new moms for all intents and purposes. We're both new moms. Like our kids are 2 or under 2. And I do think and hope that sex gets more natural and easier later down the line. Again,
I think it will. I don't know if that's me saying that to convince myself of that, but I do think it will.
But I think like the first couple of years, like it's definitely something you have to like think
there's
about.
Also just distractions. Like we're not going to have a monitor on them when they're 5, but now,
maybe I don't know. I'm paranoid as fuck. I might have a monitor on her. But I would like to chip her so that I could follow her around for the rest of her life.
That is true, but. Right now, if it's happening in the morning or at nap time, the monitor is on.
Because if the monitor is not on,
and
the baby's with you.
If they blink, your focus is not on sex; it's on your kid.
Yeah,
and the husbands are able to turn that off. We are not, and so.
And if it's not the kid, it's the fucking dog staring in my eyes while I'm getting.
Oh God, yeah, we don't have
the dog staring at me.
Yeah, Tito, you gotta get out of the room.
I said to my husband, I was like, you gotta.
Tito's got to get out of the room.
I'm like, he's like, he's sleeping. I'm like, we're making eye contact. I'm literally like doggy style. We're making eye contact. He's not fucking sleeping. He's watching.
Oh,
it's too much. It's
no,
too
Tito.
Much. No,
it's an active, a consistently active work.
Yeah.
To have sex postpartum, whether you were 2 years postpartum or not.
Don't understand. I used to, before I met our mom group, I would go on these like Facebook groups to like just talk to like see other moms. Like it's so sad, sounds so sad and depressing, but like
it's so real.
I would go on these Facebook groups to like just read other moms' stories and like kind of like comment on things and whatever. And I remember seeing like a bunch of women and like God bless you, God bless these women, but the women that are like, do you have to wait 6 weeks? I can't wait. Or like, they're just like dying.
Nobody said
these
that.
women are dying to get fucked. I swear to God, there would be women on the Facebook apps being like, Facebook apps. I'm like 85 years old. the Facebook. These women on the Facebook groups that were like, do you guys think it's okay? It's been 4.5 weeks. I feel fine. Can I fuck my husband? I'm like, are you out of your?
That's not. I would have flagged that.
You're like dying. You're like dying to get doomed.
Also, can I just say, listeners,
you're dying for sex after you gave birth.
Message us and let us know if that was you. I need to know.
No,
why.
I'm not talking about one thing. I'm talking about multiple women were dying for sex. after having birth.
I
So
need to
that
know
also made me
what
feel like
their
maybe I'm just
secret is.
not like horny. Like,
Well, yeah, that may be a factor too, but I would like to know. I would like to know if they are. I need to know their answer.
living for it, needing it. Just had a child, put a cantaloupe through the vagina and already needing sex. More power to you. But I was not there.
No, I was not there.
No.
We did do it at 6 whenever I was cleared,
We
but it
did
was
too, but it hurt.
it was like a surgical procedure. Like it was like a guided.
And you promptly cried.
For fucking sure I cried after.
You're like, I cried
because I
as
was
hard
like,
as-
we did it again. We're able to have it. Yeah, no, I for sure cried.
Yeah.
I don't know when I stopped crying after sex, but it's not like a normal thing. Only if I'm just
Really pregnant
postpartum or
yeah.
really pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Chase, God love him, is just so sweet.
What a saint.
He just understands, and he's just like, it's okay, babe. Or he'll be like, now's just not the time to have.
You guys are done now. Like you're kind of done for business, right? Or are you still?
Like we had it like a week or two ago. But I would probably say that the next time we do it will be an act of trying to induce labor.
Yeah.
Probably.
I can't believe we're about to have another kid.
Nobody's getting gooed for free.
No free goo. So free goo, here's another one. Free goo is when you get gooed, but you're not trying for a baby. I don't do free goo. So you don't get to jizz in me unless we're trying for a baby, honey. Otherwise, you better pull out.
God.
I don't do free goo. I did it once. I told you guys the other day. I was like, ugh, I got gooed for free.
Because the goo stays with you for 48 hours. Like it literally.
The goo comes out for 2 days.
We literally 48 hours.
You wake up in the night with goo in your pants.
We'll text our friend group. We have we might as well say the Village Moms. That's what we call ourselves. We will send a group or a text to the Village Moms and be like, y'all, I had sex literally 18 hours ago and there's still goo coming.
There's still goo.
How does it just keeps coming?
Yeah, it's so gross. It never goes away.
Like you go pee and you're like,
more goo.
There's goo.
Yeah.
It's still coming.
So there's no free goo for me, but being gooed for free is.
Who bought the goo stick? Was that you?
No, we saw them on Instagram.
What are they called?
It's a stick it's not goo stick, but it's like a stick you stick up there after sex and it pulls the goo out. It's actually a genius. I haven't bought it.
Nobody tried it though.
Because the promotion for it is so repulsive to look at that it actually makes you want to puke all over yourself. But
they use an egg. They crack an egg.
Yeah, it's like it's like the yellowest egg that I've ever seen. But in theory, this is a genius product. Because just marketing it is a little tricky to not make people vomit.
Right. Because no woman wants to walk around with goo in their pants.
Some women are like, I'm just too tired to let him pull out. I don't want to wipe you don't want to take the 1 second to wipe your stomach.
Oh, we have Kleenexes on both bedside table. The second it's done, I literally will lay there.
Me too. I'm like, get it off.
Until he hands me a tissue. Nothing sexy about it. But
no, it's not hot.
It's an understood.
Yeah, but they don't care. After they go, they don't care about anything. They literally, once a guy goes, he doesn't care about anything. He'll go to sleep. He's done with you. It's true. All right, we should probably end this episode before we just get.
Well, there's a purpose of this episode. The art of getting pregnant is so different for every single woman. It's been different for the 5 of us in our group.
Yeah,
and for some women, it's incredibly difficult. There's IVF.
I have multiple friends that have done IVF and successfully,
right?
And lots of friends that have had a really hard time getting pregnant, myself included. I haven't been able to get pregnant the second time. I read that there is something called like the second time. Sometimes after C-sections, you can have infertility issues. Yeah. And that can be a major thing, especially when you're of mature age.
Yeah, right.
Such as myself. But yeah, there's a lot of people that can have one and then not have another. There's a lot of people that can't have any at all. But then there's also stories of people that try for 20 years and they think they're done and they get pregnant at 45. Yeah. I mean, it is a miracle kind of thing.
Totally.
So,
but this was supposed to be like a different situations, which it is, but
It is totally different.
We got
we're still
really off on our goo train, but it is
the goo train.
out of respect for all of the women that are trying right now. Like we know Amie, I mean, I say we just by vicariously.
We both have different stories, but we just know all women of all shapes and sizes, all ages. It can be really fucking hard to conceive. And it's also I'm finding it to be an extremely stressful process to where I'm not enjoying the process because it's all I think about. And the whole month revolves around when we're trying. And then, how many days till I take the test?
Yeah.
And how many days? And I knew I was pregnant with Farrah immediately.
Yeah.
And I haven't had that feeling at all. So every month I pretty much know I'm not pregnant. And so even the waiting is just kind of depressing. And then like we tapped into last episode, I have a lot of do I even want to fucking get pregnant? Am I doing this because I think I should?
Yeah.
Why am I even doing this?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that too. And I think, before I met Nick, I was getting older and I was kind of feeling like maybe I'm not going to have kids. Maybe I'm not going to get married. And I started to tell myself and tell other people that I didn't care about that stuff. And I'm doing the same thing with this pregnancy.
Yeah.
I'm breaking up with it before it can break up with me. And that's what I do to protect myself. I will be sad if I can't have another kid. I will. I'm going to be very sad, but I have to prepare for that. I have to. Because that's the only way that I know how to cope.
Yeah. Well, and that's one thing that we've talked about too is, I can't pretend to know what it's like to not be able to. And I've witnessed you go through it. Another one of our friends tried for a full year before she got pregnant. She's now 14 weeks pregnant.
Yeah.
But I think there was one day recently where I asked you, like, is it hard for you to be excited about other moms or other friends getting pregnant? Because I know there have been some women there's actually one specific girl I'm thinking of. She used to be a client at a gym I trained at years ago, and I just still keep up with her through social media. She's actually pregnant right now.
Oh, good.
But she has been trying to get pregnant for years and has jumped through all the ropes, done all the things. She had fibroids and surgery to remove those.
A big thing.
All of the things that are difficult to conceive with, she has had. And so there was a point in time where I think she had just gotten really, really big, bad news. And I wouldn't be sharing this right now if she wasn't pregnant because this does have a happy ending. And obviously I won't say her name. But I remember her sharing on her social media, like, if I unfollow you or if I disappear for a while, it's because your happiness hurts me. And she said, you've done nothing wrong, but I want this so badly that it's hard for me to see other women have this, which again, I can't relate to that, but God, that's got to be so real to want it so bad.
I'm not feeling that. I can be honest with you about that. Like, I really don't feel that. I don't feel any sadness or anger towards my friends who are getting pregnant because, again, like, I really am torn about if and why I want to get pregnant.
Yeah.
I know I want another kid. I don't know if I want to carry it.
Yeah.
So it's very complicated for me. But I think if I hadn't had Farrah, that I would have a lot of jealousy and I would have a lot of sadness around that because I have my daughter and we're so close and like I'm so obsessed with her. I can't feel that because I'm so already #blessed. I fucking hate that shit. But if I'm already so blessed to have her, that I can't possibly be mad at other people.
No,
but
I get that.
If I hadn't, I would totally get that.
I think that is that's got to be such a real thing.
Oh, I would understand being upset. Like, I remember seeing all my friends like getting married and meeting their person, and I was still just dating like every piece of shit in New York and LA, and just feeling like this is not going to happen for me. And feeling real feelings of not necessarily like mad at them or jealous, but feeling sad for me. I watched all 3 of my younger brothers get married. I watched, seriously, I'm one of those stories where if you have not met your person, you have time. I met my husband at 34. Like, you have time. Don't fucking give up and do not settle. Just live your life.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I think it's very real to probably feel upset and jealous. I'm not there, but I can.
Well, I
understand
wanted
that.
to touch on that.
Yeah.
I would assume that anybody who's listening to this is a mom, so
or is like ready to be a mom.
yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully nobody's hurt, I guess, by that, because
We're women. We're hurting all the time.
That is true, but
like every day is.
But I do feel for the women that have been trying for so long, and it's got to be just so hard to see.
Yeah.
And because we immediately as women think, because we kind of, we'll talk about this with breastfeeding, but you immediately think like, is my body failing me? Like, is it
am
not
I the problem?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the answer is no. You're not.
Right. The answer is no.
You're not. And there's a journey for everyone. Adoption might not be for everybody, but there are so many children that need homes, and that would be so grateful to have a loving family. So that's always something to think about instead of torturing yourself.
No free goo.
No free goo, honey. Anyway, cheers.
Cheers to the goo.
Cheers to the goo sticking.
Rock, rock, rock me, mama.